本日はお付き合いいただきましてありがとうございました。
What? Hey, what is up, everybody? So Square, yet again, dropped a bunch of announcements of their Golden Cow Final Fantasy VII. I like to call it the Golden Cow because they keep milking the damn thing. I know I'm a couple days late, but just to recap what happened really quickly in that 14-minute video, we got Final Fantasy VII Intergrade out on Steam, a new update for their mobile BR, The First Soldier, and then some beta testing for Ever Crisis later this year. Oh yeah, they also announced Crisis Core Reunion and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but who cares? Just kidding. Before I get to the big stuff, I'll quickly talk about the other announcements because I want to be thorough with these videos. Alright, Intergrade coming over to Steam isn't that big of a deal. The game has been out on Epic for exactly 6 months now. I don't know if the Steam version would be any different from its counterpart on Epic. The only possible upgrades I can see them doing is adding more graphic settings instead of the basic crap like frame rate adjustment and the high and low toggle. And knowing how Steam and Epic operate as game launchers, you'll finally be able to play Final Fantasy VII Remake offline. I don't know if you can do that with Epic, but that's a good feature to have, I guess. On to the mobile stuff. Now, let me just preface this by saying that I'm not a very big mobile gamer, but I did try The First Soldier when it released. It was fun, but nothing really too special. Of course, I haven't played it since, but that's not necessarily a knock on the game. I just don't play a lot of mobile games, that's all. They announced a new map, a new weapon, and new materia. I don't know if this is big, so any fan of the game in the comment section, please help me out here. Anyway, on to the bigger news on mobile. We get to see a little bit more of Ever Crisis. Now, I explained this before in my thoughts on the teaser trailer over a year ago, but Ever Crisis is going to be a game that releases in chapters. It is my understanding that the game will be playable in little segments that Square would release every now and again. I don't know if you're gonna have to pay for the chapters, but I wouldn't be surprised if Square would make it that way. They finally gave us more scenes to admire. This time, we can clearly see scenes from the original Crisis Core game. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really digging the 3D chibi art style. It's cute, but also reminiscent to the original Final Fantasy VII, which looked like a bunch of walking geometry problems. I gotta say though, Ever Crisis seems to be a more faithful remake since they are recreating the scenes almost perfectly from the OG. To name a few, we have the church scene where Cloud has the option to answer Aerith in 2 different ways. Bring back the slum drop. And there's the scene leading up to the fight with the Airbuster where the president personally shows up instead of some hologram like in the remake. We also get to see an updated UI for battling, which looks pretty damn cool. There's a standard attack button that looks like it has its own ATB charge mechanic, and then we have the other long ATB bar in the middle for all the special attacks and abilities. You can see the ATB charge cost for each of the attacks above the ability icon. The battling looks like it'll be turn-based, but from what I see, I'm expecting it to feel a lot like Final Fantasy XIII's battle system. For those of y'all that hate on Final Fantasy XIII, sorry, but that's really what it looks like to me. One more thing, and I honestly did not expect to discuss something like this, but you can change the characters' outfits. In the trailer, we see Cloud wearing some kind of samurai outfit. Tifa is in this very cute blue top that gives me Renoa vibes, and Aerith is in this gorgeous white wedding dress looking type outfit. I also have to mention that Aerith is using Seal Evil, which is a limit break from the original that wasn't carried over to the remake. Oh, and Sephiroth got a haircut. Go figure. Okay, the big news. Let's start off with this. There really isn't a lot to say about the Crisis Core remaster or remake or reunion. I have no idea what this is. From what they showed us, it does look like a straight up recreation of the original Crisis Core with updated graphics, and that's all. I have no idea if they're going to incorporate the stuff that happened in the remake so stuff ties in together, or if they're going to stick to the original ending. I don't really have an opinion on what they should be doing, because I'm just excited to have Crisis Core brought over from 2007. It took them 15 years to port this game over to a current gen console. Speaking of which, rejoice my friends, because this game is going to be available on every current console you can imagine. So you'll have no trouble finding ways to play this. Unless of course you don't have a current gen console, then sorry. But I mean, it comes out in the winter, which I'm assuming is the US winter, so from November to January. You have time to save up for one of those consoles, and please save the date. Okay, now for the big news. Let's talk sequel. First, it opens with Aerith saying stuff about how what happens in the past is permanent. But we all know... Okay, I realize I never gave a spoiler warning for the ending of the remake, so here it is, I guess. Spoilers! Okay, back to the video. That really isn't true. Or it could be. Actually, I don't know. We don't really understand what the hell is going on with the story. Zack seems to be alive, and they might be going back and forth between timelines. Anyway, while the cast speaks in the background, we actually see some gameplay. Cloud and Sephiroth are walking along this path that seems to be heading towards Mount Nebel. I'm not 100% sure that this is Mount Nebel, but it just seems like it, especially when we hear Cloud narrating what he remembers. For people who haven't played Final Fantasy VII in a while, this narration of events happens when Cloud and the party rendezvous at Calm. We know the Yuffie DLC ended with the party arriving there, so we definitely speculated that this is where Part 2 would pick up. And now we get almost actual confirmation that this is exactly where Part 2 would start. Anyway, after that, we get to see a cutscene of Cloud and Zack making it to the outskirts of Midgar, further confusing the living hell out of us. I could probably make an entire video breaking down the trailer and looking for every single Easter egg or analyzing every little thing about it, but I don't want to, so I'm just gonna breeze through a lot of the things I noticed and or the thoughts I had really quickly here. First, the opening dialogue coming from Aerith could be referring to the fact that they destroyed the Whispers, so now they can change the future events without anything interfering. It could also be a message to the players that this game isn't going to be following the original story faithfully, or in other words, expect a lot of new changes to the post-Midgar story. Next, obviously Cloud walking alongside Sephiroth is a flashback sequence, but the environment is unrecognizable, or at least it would have been if it weren't for those mountains. But I couldn't tell if this was after stopping by the town in Nibelheim. I mean, it should be, but where's the tour guide? I don't know, maybe we'll see more in another trailer. Also, I don't remember a tiny bridge like this ever showing up. If they changed the long-ass rope bridge to this tiny one, I'd be so disappointed. I doubt it though, because the rope bridge has some significance in Cloud and Tifa's history. Moving on, each scene gets interrupted by a question like what is fact or fiction, or what will happen to the planet. It definitely feels like they're trying to sell the questions as part of the themes of this game. Some Final Fantasy VII vets probably already know the answers to these questions, but I'm pretty sure they're going to pull the rug from under us. There is going to be a twist. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out, but knowing the what, the when, the how, and the why of that twist remains to be seen. Then we get Cloud, Aerith, and Zack having a conversation. Or at least that's what it sounds like. The way they edit the trailers are always misleading, so the quote-unquote conversation might not be what it actually is in the main game. And lastly, the logo design is killing me. Of course, the remake has this green glow which sort of replicates the glow coming from Mako, while Rebirth gets this red hue, almost signifying this is blood. Yeah, think about that, y'all. This might end where I think it's gonna end, but there is one more game after Rebirth, so we know that this game wouldn't be the full story yet. I'm trying to figure out the best place for them to end part 2, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. It's entirely possible that the game would be unrecognizable nearing its end, so where it actually finishes might not have ever played out in the original at all. Can't help think about it though. Square Enix has been killing it with the announcements these past few months. We got news like Cage 4, Final Fantasy 16, and now a bunch of stuff coming from Final Fantasy 7. Granted, they are feeding into people's nostalgia by remaking/remastering Crisis Core, but come on, the game's been waiting to be remastered. The next 2 years are going to be great for Final Fantasy fans and much more for Final Fantasy 7 fans. I look forward to everything coming in, and I hope I get to showcase these games when they do drop. If you reached this far, thanks for listening to me ramble about a bunch of trailers that came out a few days ago, and I guess check out my channel if you enjoyed it. I'm gonna head out now, so take care everyone, and peace out.